It's my pleasure to introduce Herb Deutsch, a composer who had a very strong influence on electronic music through his friendship, or his early friendship, with Bob Moog. He met Bob Moog before Bob was making synthesizers, and in fact it was largely because of Herb's ideas and his needs as a composer in electronic music that Bob turned out to make synthesizers. So they worked together for several months at different times, and Herb shared his ideas with Bob, and Bob tried things out, and it went back and forth, and as a collaboration, the synthesizer emerged. It's wonderful to be in the right place at the right time in life with the right idea, and Herb certainly was. I think we can thank Herb, in fact, for really being at the beginning of this whole adventure of developing synthesizers in those days, and in working with Bob in doing it. So it's my great pleasure to introduce Herb Deutsch.
For those of you who do not know, I built a Melodia theremin in the Melodia model theremin, which was Bob's theremin that he designed and was selling as a kit in about 1963. 1962 maybe, when I first, and I called up, what I did is, like everyone, there was an article about building your own theremin that Bob had written for Electronics World magazine. That's all in your book. But anyway, that's how we, in a sense, first touched. But I hadn't met him at that point, so I had called the house and said, I tried to build one of these theremins, but I don't know how to wind coils. And then that's the secret of the theremin. And so I could never get the theremin to work, so then I called up and I talked to Shirley, Bob's wife at that time, and she said, well, the first thing she did is criticize me for saying Moog, which well, I learned very early. But yeah, I did buy the kit and built it, and then met Bob later on in '63, actually, at a NISMA All-State conference. NISMA All-State is the New York State School Music Association, and I went up there when I was just starting as a teacher. In fact, it may have been my first year teaching, first year full time, and I just went up, and there was Bob Moog. But all I saw was this really nice-looking man selling, or standing, I don't think he was selling anything at the time, but he was just standing there waiting for people to buy things, and he had the Melodia theremin, along with tubas, and that was Walter Sear, thank you, I needed the name. Walter Sear was selling tubas and sharing the booth with Bob Moog selling theremins, kits. So theremin kits and tubas. And Walter Sear's tubas were great tubas. They were very good. So here were these really expensive tubas, and of course, high school kids are coming over and looking at tubas. That's, and they had no idea what this theremin was. And I saw Bob, and we just started talking, and that was the end of it. I mean, we just talked, and I don't think anything else went on for hours except talking about electronic music and what it was and what it could do. And then at a concert a little bit after that, it was in January in the city, and Bob went down and recorded it. And after that, we talked about, let's really get together, because we could build a new instrument, And we got together finally in 1964. I always tell this story. I'm sorry if I'm going to bore you. But I was teaching in Hofstra. It was my first year. And we had this chair of the department. And he was he loved electronic music, and he really wanted to support us. And I said, I contacted Bob, and I said, send me a real formal letter. So he wrote a really formal letter on, his stationery, and signed it and said, we'd like you to come up and work on this new instrument. And I gave it to the school, and I went to the dean's office, and I got a research grant to go up to develop a new musical instrument at $200. And I'm still teaching there.